Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga was released on 2004 from PlayStation 2, and its sequel, Digital Devil Saga 2, was released on 2005. This game is the first fully 3D megaten game I'm going to try now, and I have to say I had a really good time with this game. Because it is not a first-person dungeon crawler, I finally get to see a fully visualized version of what megaten world actually looks like, and somehow the atmosphere and overall aesthetic looks good, if not even better than its predecessor. It took me 48 hours to beat the game as I'm trying to beat all extra bosses, except for one boss which apparently is known to be the strongest boss to ever exist in the entire franchise. So needless to say, I'm going to take a pass on that one for sure. But if you are only going for the main game, it is a 30-hour long, nicely packaged linear story game with a great gameplay loop. That said, I had to say I did not understand 90% of what's going on with the story in this game, and that 10% I could understand was because of the cutscenes. To be fair, this game is a duology, so I guess I have to play its sequel to actually understand the game fully. In this video, I will be talking about my entire experience and my thought process as I tackle each dungeon and fight bosses until the very end, while sharing whatever insight I got from playing the game to you. That's the intro, and enjoy the video. The basic premise of the story goes like this. There are 6 tribes, and each tribes are constantly at war with each other. Embryon, Assignment, Maribel, Solid, Brutish, and Hounds. You have to defeat each tribe in order to ascend to Nirvana, a place where every suffering ends and breaks your karma cycle to free you from humanity, etc. etc. The game starts with a very first cutscene where 2 opposing factions, Embryo and Assignment, are fighting, and then the Eggwood tentacles start shooting beams to everyone on the field, turning everyone into man-eating devils. That is the most unique thing about this game. You don't have to recruit devils nor negotiate to build your team composition. Instead, you turn into a devil yourself and fight other devils. Each character can turn into specific devils, and there are 5 playable characters in this game. But that doesn't mean the strategy element no longer exists. In fact, it gives you a fresh megaten gameplay and easier understanding of what the intended gameplay mindset the developer wants you to have when you play this game. What I'm trying to say is that, like Persona and SMT 2, I think DDS 1 is also perfect for newcomers to try out the series. But still, I think DDS 1 can be difficult in the sense that there is not much of a variety in ways you can defeat bosses, and you need a really specific set of skills in order to survive 3 to 4 turns from boss attacks, let alone defeat it. So I say the difficulty of DDS 1 comes from the lack of varieties more than the game being difficult for the sake of being a megaten game. While we are on the topic of gameplay, I also want to point out a genius way Atlas create great gameplay loop just like their previous game. It's the multiple currency system, as I will call it myself. So you get EXP from fighting monsters and then levels, and then you put points into stats to grow your characters in ways you want them to be. Also, you get Adama points, AP, which is another separate currency you can obtain from fighting monsters. Like how character level and persona level are earned separately in Persona 1, in this game, AP can be used to unlock skills, and another currency being money. Good thing Magnetite doesn't exist in DDS 1, and that saves me half of my brain cells from dying. Skill sets are what makes this game replayable to certain degrees, but as I have mentioned earlier, there are only a few useful ones you need in order to plow through the game, and the rest are just bad. So you find yourself trying to get to the gold one as fast as you can, or else you are going to get left behind the difficulty scaling as the game progresses if you are not unlocking skills in the most optimal way. But the thing is, you can't just know the optimal way unless you beat the game at least once. I don't know about you guys, but I have this bad habit of trying to optimize things a lot even before playing the game. But with this game, I trying to go as blindly as possible with the skill tree, and you know what? Trial and error gaming is unironically addicting. I kept picking wrong skill set for bosses, but still managed to defeat them after a few tries, although not in a satisfying and stylish way, which I would much prefer just to have cool footage of me absolutely destroying bosses like a real pro gamer. But in reality, I always have to fight tooth and nail with bosses with whatever I have at that moment. And then I have a few bosses which I just have to make up my mind completely and go farm some levels to unlock more skills for several days straight just to beat them. So in summary, skill tree is the meat of DDS 1, and you will find yourself switching skill sets very often during your playthrough and execute your fights near perfection. Back to the game though, because of the egg tentacle thing shooting beams, marks started appearing on different parts of their body like face, chest, leg, and on ass of all places. Now they have to figure out what the meaning of the marks and what to do with the gear that hatched from the egg after the beam shooting. So they decided to revisit assignment again and now off with the first dungeon of this game. Assignment hideout is mostly straightforward dungeon with a little lever pulling puzzle here and there, but other than that, you are just here to get used to mechanic of this game for the most part. The battle in this game are quick and snappy, but the best part of all is to look at 3D animation as you execute the commands. Man, I love turn-based games so much. You can normal attack, use magic attack, physical attacks, set passive skill and shield skills. There is an auto attack option, but to my own surprise, I did not use that a single time just because more often than not, you are going to get punished for using it other than maybe for monsters that are way weaker than you. But at that point, you might as well just use Astoma spray to reduce the encounter. And here it is, the infamous press turn mechanic that I have been hearing this entire time. Still, even after beating this game, I still don't know what the actual meaning of the term press turn actually means. Anyway, here's everything I know about press turn mechanic. You get one turn per character and the same goes for the enemies, excluding some bosses because they are cheaters. Yes, I'm looking at you muddy-headed snakes. You get extra turn for hitting weaknesses and crit, or reduce enemy turns by reflecting, absorbing and blocking attacks from them. It is very clear right from the start that the game encourages highly for you to do so. But here's the thing, the same applies to those bosses with 7-8 turns and their turn can double easily if you are not prepared well enough, making it look like an average modern Yu-Gi-Oh game where you had to wait for 5 minutes straight watching your opponent do their own thing only to lose the game the next turn, which put all the more emphasis on skills you set and less on over leveling and stats. For the record, I went all in for magic and vitality stats and then speed after I have maxed the previous two. The devil designs went for a very minimalistic approach and they are all memorable. It reminds me of Chainsaw Man devil designs with no eyes if you ask me. Each devil has different affinity and also come with different stat growth. Among the 5, I use Saf for magic attacks, Zero for support and heal, and Heat for physical attacks. Zero and Gear joins halfway through the game with Arujira and Heat leaving the party every once in a while. I hate when RPGs do this because I hate the feeling of leaving some of my character at that level and I feel forced to use each and every character if I don't want to have that unhealthy feeling. But what can I do? Atlas game has made me reconsider some of my perspective on game already, like the resource conservation / management / limitation thing, so might as well get rid of another one while I am here. The first boss you get to fight is the assignment leader Hayagriva. As you can see, a zebra with hands that can breathe fire and is weak to ice attacks. This early into the game, you don't really have an ice attack that do a good damage to this boss yet, so I try another mechanic this game introduced. Transformation. Sometimes if your speed stat is low, you start off the battle in human form, in which case you can only use gun attack, but you can also revert back to human form from devil form whenever you like in battle. And here comes another mechanic, combo attacks, which gets unlocked if you have certain combination of attacks or skill in your arsenal. Though I didn't find combo attacks that useful other than this fight to be honest. Return stuff back to human and with heat in this devil form. Then you get Ice Gun combo attack that has high rate of freezing the boss. Attacking enemies in frozen state with physical attack gives you a guaranteed crit, and to top that off, you also get an extra 10 per crit. You can defeat the boss easily with this attack button. Although midway through the battle, boss will start using Ice Break to block all incoming ice attack for one turn and then use strong fire attack in the following turn. So if you see him use Ice Break, use Fire Break from Heat to in turn block all incoming fire attacks back. The good thing about the combo attack is you get to use better magic attacks which you have not unlocked yet in the early game, but the bad thing is you waste your time by doing so, and I think it is not worth it at all and you are better off finishing whatever enemies you are facing as fast as you can in the good old megaten game fashion, spamming magic attacks. So I say you can ignore the combo attacks until the enemies start using it against you. Back to the hideout, you find Gay going on berserk and then you hear an opening sound of the game sung by Sarah. Personally, not the biggest fan of bull cat hairstyle like Sarah and Saf. I hate it with passion, mostly because I had to live my entire childhood with that haircut while getting laughed at by my classmates every day at school, just because my mother thought it looked cute on me. Maybe Sarah is kind of hated for the same reason. I don't know, but people seem to hate Sarah for some reason. So Sarah is an amnesia character, and technically so is everyone in this game. And after the game introduces Sarah to you, you will immediately get summoned to Karma Charge. There you get to see other tribe leaders for the first time, and everyone is given a mission by Angel to kill each other, and that the only remaining tribe who has Sarah with them in the end will be able to ascend to Nirvana. Then back at the hideout, Gay will plan for the upcoming Order War by starting to ally with Mary Bear tribe, who is currently at war with Solid. When you reach their hideout, Jinana, the leader of Mary Bear, will test your strength by asking you to come and meet with her at the end of the dungeon. Mary Bear hideout has switches scattered throughout the dungeon, and you need to elevate the doors in order to progress further. It is here you find the very first hunting feat. This is a mini game where you have to hack and slash every one of these little balls and a time limit, and if you do, you get to fight with Mitamas. There are different kinds of Mitamas, and they log every attacks other than attacks they are weak to. They are also quick to escape if you don't hit weaknesses and inflict them with fear to use hunt skill, or else you won't be able to eat any of them at all. Hunting is another unique mechanic introduced in DDS1. Hunt can be divided into damage inflicting attack and insta-kill attack, but both of them are only effective when enemies are in fear, or if they are under status ailment. Among them, insta-kill hunt skills work the best on frozen enemies, and damage inflicting hunt skills work the best on paralyzed enemy for crit. Successful hunting gives you more AP than usual, but sometimes you get stomach ache, in which case you won't get any AP for that battle. I for one didn't really prioritize unlocking hunt skill early in the game, 1 because they are expensive, and 2 because I think hitting weaknesses with magic attacks are more important. And also, I tried hunting Mitamas multiple times but didn't succeed a single time the entire game, so I quickly gave up on that. The boss this time is a bat, and this is not the last time you will be seeing his face. This bat is strong against most magic attacks and blocks earth magic, but will go into defense mode after you have reduced his HP to certain points with physical attacks, and that's when it becomes weak to earth magic. By this point, Arujira was the only one with earth magic, and she is the only healer on the team, so the fight went on for quite a while, but in the end I managed to defeat it. Having proved that you are strong enough to be acknowledged by Jinana, Embryo and Mary Bear team up together for now and heads off to the Solid hideout. So the plan to infiltrate the impenetrable castle of Solid is that Mary Bear will act as a decoy and you will go inside the castle to assassinate their leader. So it's a diversion tactic. Thank you Atlas for making it easy for me to understand. Okay, this dungeon is a bit of a pain in the ass to navigate. It has this traffic light puzzle, and if you are wrong, you will fall through the pitfall. And there is this several turntable puzzles, so if you are not paying attention to the surroundings, you will be living down there for quite some time. When you get to the end, you find Jinana all beaten up by Solid leaders who tells you that her plan has already been leaked by the bat who has betrayed Mary Bear. Then Jinana and Arujira share the moment together before Jinana transforms into Devil because she can no longer contain a hangar anymore. Jinana will keep summoning unicorns, but ignore them and keep focusing on the boss only. Bring some items that cure charm status and keep using Hammer Break every turn for countermeasure against the combo attack of Unicorn and Jinana. Physical attack works well in this fight, so hit is MVP this time. After Arujira's insane character development arc, we now have to chase down Solid leader, so return back to Mary Bear hideout. Gay will join your team this time, and as soon as you enter the hideout, you quickly realize Solid members are trying to stall you for some reason. But the reason got quickly answered when Barrett arrives and reveals that he has once again told Solid leader that Embryo has Sarah with them, so he is on his way to retrieve her. Turns out Barrett was eavesdropping Jinana and Arujira's conversation earlier. With that said, here's another fight with the bat. This time, Bat will call 2 performers and go into defense mode early. Performer will spam insta-kill cast attacks, so have newly recruited Gay use cast break every turn and defeat performers first. After that, Bat will return to attack mode, so now have Arujira hit every turn and keep attacking until it goes down. Yet again, after the fight, Bat will escape, and now you will have to replay the entire Mary Bear dungeon again to escape from this place. There are only like 6 playable dungeons in this game, and you will be backtracking to those dungeons multiple times for items and for fighting extra bosses. Some gold items are locked behind blue, yellow and red barrier, so you need to find those keys first in order to open them. And you also need those keys to fight extra bosses later. When you get back to your hideout, you find out Solid Leader has already took away Sarah, who is under watch by Seattle. It is here I realize how this gang gave off the vital character from JoJo. Like how Seattle reminds me of Nana, Gay reminds me of Bucharity, and Jinana reminds me of Jolene. Also, up until this point, I just thought characters are speaking in monotonous voice just to fit the vibe of megaten games, but turns out monotonous voice acting is actually necessary for plot. It is very unlikely that you will hear monotonous voices from professional voice actors ever again, so I consider myself one of the lucky ones to witness this experience firsthand. You will also see one after another regaining their humanity as the story progresses, and before you know it, you have a team made up of characters who will have great chemistry with each other, and it becomes a treat to watch them interact. According to Seattle, Solid Leader is in point 136. This is arguably my least favorite dungeon in this game, reminiscent of Tokyo Destiny Land from SMT 1. The entire dungeon is one giant puzzle to solve, with you following along the story of one princess and two princes. It was very weird looking at character designs of Kazuma Kaneko in, I don't know, Elizabethan era fashion. I guess I'm just used to seeing his post-apocalyptic steampunk character designs. Anyway, the story goes like this. There are two princes, good prince and bad prince. Princes like the good prince obviously, so bad prince trying to separate the two. Stuff happens along the way, and it finally comes down to a duel between two princes. In that duel, bad prince took out the sword, but good prince pulls out a gun instead and shoots him straight up, and now bad prince is dead. And it turns out, bad prince is actually good and good prince is actually bad. So princess, while holding the now dead bad prince in her arms, she unleashed her power and destroyed the world. And that's the end of the story. In this dungeon, the puzzles include pitfall, one-way doors, flipping switch, and riding elevators, and redirecting lights to mirrors. Every gimmick I hate accumulated in one place. I had to stop playing midway because my brain genuinely starts to hurt trying to solve the multi-layer elevator plus mirror puzzle near the very end. But after that, it is a straight climb towards the top, and once you get there, you are treated with, in my opinion, the best cutscene in the game. Solid Leader and Bat is there waiting for you while holding Sarah in custody. Bat then stabs he in the stomach and tells he to kill Saf if he wants to get Sarah back. And so a brawl between Leader and his subordinate begins, and it was a really great scene. Sarah couldn't watch them beating each other out anymore, so she jumped off the cliff, but to no avail. Because Solid Leader managed to catch her, but Sarah was like no, so she falls again. But again, Bat was like no, so she was safe again. But then comes Seattle, he too was like no, so Bat runs away with a hole in his wing. But wait, that means Sarah falls again, but this time Seattle saved her for good, and all that left is to Meatball boss fight is actually an interesting fight. It has a body and a head. The head will capture one of your teammates and will absorb HP and MP from them every turn. During that time, body will use Earth magic, so block it with Earth Break. If you focus fire the head for a couple of turns, it will release your teammate back and transform into Fuse version. Unlike head with wind weakness and the body with fire weakness, the Fuse version does not have any weakness at all. That said, Meatball can only use one Earth magic, so it is actually a really one-sided match. After the fight, all team members reunite again. Sarah wakes up in Saf's arms, and he was jealous of Saf for having Sarah all to himself. Starting from here, he changes from a badass character to a cute character all of a sudden, with his soon dating over every little things, and so he became my favorite character in the game. After you have defeated Meatball, you are now able to challenge the first extra boss of the game. If anything, I know very well that I'm not able to do anything to extra bosses at my current state, so I chose to come back again later. This destination is the abandoned ship, where we will be setting trap for Bat with Arujira disguised as Sarah, and as well as for Brutus tribe, who he has now newly teamed up with. Also, the ship seems familiar to our main cast for some reason. After setting bombs all across 9 floors and fighting the goons from Brutish, you get to set a score with Bat for the third and final time. But now you should know about this boss inside out already. I sell all of my character with earth magic and then follow up with support, she and he magic with extra 10 I got from learning those weaknesses. But this time, bad can also turn you to bad as well, which will reduce all of your stat by half and make you weak to wind magic, which this boss loves spamming, so remember to put up she every turn. Bad will get caught up in the explosion and we get this cinematic explosion shot that I love. I forgot to mention that this entire game is an absolute cinema experience, not just the cutscenes, the entire game just looks like a straight up anime movie. What can I say, this place is just cozy to a T. The entire place is covered in rain and with Sarah sounds echoing everywhere and all. I don't even know enough vocabulary to describe this place anymore. So let's say it's just 5 man, 10 out of 10 for sure. It is here you get to see his heavy feeling for Sarah but got ultimately rejected by her as she already had feeling for Saf. Looks like we are going to have a love triangle inside our megaten game. So the next destination is the Goro sewer level, arguably the most clean looking sewer I have ever seen. Makes me want to drink those fresh water down there, not gonna lie. In all fairness, enemies start to get a bit difficult to fight as we enter the late game, and the notable ones in the dungeon definitely goes to Dekarabia Pixie and his brethren High Pixie and Queen Maid, all because of their strong affinity towards magic, and by this point I don't really have good answer to all of them. As always, this sewer dungeon is big and has water pipe conveyor belt puzzle where you have to get to the ladder within one solar noise cycle or else you will be sent back to the beginning if you didn't make it. Just like moon cycle in other megaten games, solar noise cycle can also affect some part of your gameplay. Like selling cells during max solar noise give you a huge chunk of money, curing status ailment during minimum solar noise, and raising the crit rate according to skill you set. So what are we going to do in the sewer exactly? You are here to team up with Hound's tribe in order to defeat Brutish tribe, because the entire Hound tribe got absolutely destroyed just by one person, and that's Brutish tribe leader. In exchange for Brutish tribe leader's head, Hound's tribe leader offer his head. So now we are going to have 2 heads to juggle after all this mess. Just kidding. Hound leader Ruba is indeed a giga chat. Look at the way he walks off the screen to hold off Brutish member so that we can stick in and defeat Baron, the Brutish tribe leader.
一緒にニルバーナへ行こう。
すべてのトライブの頂点に立つにはそのリーダーを倒さねばならん。教会がそれを許すかな。
その時は教会も倒すさ。
承知した。
If that doesn't look badass, I really don't know what is. Then once you get to the end, just like Jinana who went berserk because of the hunger, Ruba will also go berserk because of overkilling. Though it is very sad that we have to defeat Ruba to proceed the game. Cerebral has 3 heads and each head do different tasks. Left head use support and heal skills, so defeat that one first. Follow that with the right head that use magic attack, and then finally the middle head that use physical attack. If you are not debuffing this dog, you are guaranteed to be in a war of heart. Just to be on the safe side, bring certain items to cure stone status, or else you will keep getting one shot because of their status ailment. After the fight, Ruba will leave a message to relay to his son and then pass away. One chat passes his baton to another chat, and now it's time for Gay. The next destination is the mansion. This dungeon contains 3 different pillars you can interact with that changes the layout of the dungeon. It is not that big of a dungeon by any means, so that's reassuring, especially after going through that huge sewer dungeon. After you defeat 3 respective bosses in each pillars, the 4th one will open and now you can get to Baron. He seems to know all of you except Gay and especially Sarah, to which he coins the term Techno Shaman who will destroy the world. The main cast also seem to have quite a lot of connection pertaining with this mansion. The game keeps giving me some infos here and there about the story, but never a full picture. And that's true until the game ends, unfortunately. Hope the second game delivers everything left and soft in a neat full package. But for now, let's fight the boss.
みんなを仲間を傷つけることだけは私が許さない。
許さないだとお前が言えたきりか。何の因果か知らんが、もうこんなクソったれなところがたくさんだ。お前の大事なあの小僧を八つ裂きにして抜け出してやる。
Wait a minute, where's the boss? That's right, Baron can transform into Devil that can turn invisible, and you have to attack the correct one among these 6 invisible hitboxes. If you miss, you will lose the entire turn, and the fight will quickly swing towards Baron's favor. Fortunately, Sarah will start helping you figure out the location after 3 turns, so you just have to wait out until then or be lagging with your hits. Then Baron will go into second phase with another form, and this is when the actual fight begins. You can hit for a decent damage with magic attacks combined with boost and high boost. This boss can also turn you guys into berserk status, where you will attack among yourself and it is incurable except by Sarah, which she will come in and sing for you once per turn to cure one of your characters. So MVP for this fight definitely goes to Sarah. After defeating Baron, Sarah will regain all of her memory and went towards Karma Charge on her own. Now with one last try remaining, we can finally climb to Nirvana and so enters the final part of the game. But first, let's go and defeat those extra bosses. First off, we have King Frost from point 136. You'll be asked to collect keys, but among them, Candy Key is the only one you will need. King Frost can absorb ice, block fire, hammer, cast, and bad status, and it also resists physical attacks. And to top that off, King Frost attacks for 3 times per turn and will keep summoning 2 Jet Frost whenever you defeat them, so ignore Jet Frost and just aim for the head. If you use She skill to ward off ice attack from King Frost, it will start using physical and universal attacks back at you, so prepare to tank them. But the good news is, King Frost doesn't have ways to clear debuff on itself, so keep debuffing and hitting and you will win. Next we have Beelzebub Human Form from Assignment Hideout. This guy can reflect hammer and cast attacks and blocks BS and all elemental magics except fire. Surf at this point isn't particularly useful, so I use Heat, Cielo and Gale for the fight. Equip everyone with passive skill that resists hammer and cast attacks, equip She that can deal with electric attacks, and also buff, debuff and heal as the fight demands it, and Beelzebub will go down. After defeating Human Form, you can now fight with its flying form in the sewers. Notable devils in this area is Arahabaki, who can block just about every attack but only weak to ice, and Lakshmi, who has this insanely annoying 2-turn K attack by putting you into sleep one turn and then insta-killing you the next turn. So if you see these two, just remember that there will be a lot of casualties. So to fight Beelzebub Flying Form, I had to take a day to grind a bit to unlock skills like randomizers to debuff all stat by 1 and She skill that can straight up block hammer and cast attacks for every member. If you only have She skill that can resist hammer and cast attack and just want to use them, it's still okay, but chances are you will keep getting one shot by this ultimate attack without a doubt. And that's the only attack you have to look out for. Shio no Soretsu, or Funeral Procession of Death Lines, is an AoE universal attack that has 100% cast insta K rate. It is as bad as it sounds, so prepare to tank that attack with a bunch of defense buff and heals. If you go a bit farther after defeating Beelzebub, you can outrank Killing Stone, which has AoE insta-K cast effect with high success rate, and can be used infinite amount of time too. As cool as this item sounds, I didn't really find that useful except for one-shotting this bird at this point of the game, which is a bit disappointing. Just like the gold items, you also unlock hidden skills by defeating these extra bosses, and you are definitely going to need those to defeat other extra bosses and the final boss. I have also read that you get bonus stuff by carrying the 6 data from DDS1 to DDS2 if you defeat these extra bosses, depending on the extra bosses that you defeated and the dialogue choices you chose. So those are also the reason why I wanted to defeat these bosses as well. Just when I thought I was moving at a great pace with defeating these extra bosses one after another, I hit a solid brick wall when I get to Yamata no Orochi. As you can see, this 8-headed snake can attack for 8 times per turn, and it will use a bunch of variety of attacks that I don't really have any answers to at that very moment, so I had to continue with the game. Normally I try to persevere with whatever I have, But this snake is just too much to handle if you are not prepared well. So for now, back to the main story. Karma Charge is the final dungeon, and here it is, another tower to climb. It is just one very straightforward huge dungeon with clipping walls scattered all over the place, but enemies here are a different story. Two elephant jewels, Giri Megala and Ganesha, are back with annoying affinity typings for you to face, and Karma guards who can block everything except magic attacks, and finally, the most annoying enemy in the entire game for me is Samaya. This guy's sole existence is to inflict all kind of status ailment on you and to shorten your life every time you face this guy. Aside from this guy, most of the late game enemies can all be defeated rather easily with universal attacks and mind charge, which boosts your next magic attack. It saved me a lot of troubles from memorizing Devil's weakness, as this 2-turn one-shot attack trivializes every encounter I face in my late game journey. This tower can be divided into two parts, and that's how huge this tower actually is. On the first part, you get to fight Vaski. This boss is an absolute ice machine that uses bunch of strong ice attack, so be sure to prepare Shi for ice attacks. But I have already strengthened my team with 3 extra boss fights before, so I am actually quite high in level for this final dungeon to tank out those ice attacks. So I'm just focused on blasting this guy with boosted mages, and that gets the job done. Then we get to the second part, and here you get to fight with Ananda, another multi-headed snake that also attacks 7 times per turn, but is weaker than Orochi in all categories. I still haven't defeated Orochi yet, so I tested myself with this snake first, and the fight went pretty well with my current team composition. This snake uses physical attacks and BS attacks, equipped with passive skill that protect you from confuse and sleep, and you will be fine if you just keep blessing it with magic. After you have defeated Ananda, you can either go and challenge 4 holy beasts or head straight to fight with the final boss. I was curious enough to backtrack in order to fight with 4 holy beasts, so here we go. First one is Suzaku, who is located in Assignment Hideout. These holy beasts have unique ability that can absorb certain magic attacks 10 times more than normal, and in this case, Suzaku absorbs fire attacks. Another gimmick to these beasts is that you need to pay attention to the phrases they speak, because those phrases indicate which attack pattern they are going to change to. As for Suzaku, if she is like, "Hey, let me have your delicious part," then you know she is going to suck off your HP next turn. Next one is Byako, who can be found in Medieval Hideout. This guy is a physical attack specialist, so use magic attacks except wind magic. Nothing to say about this guy other than that. And then we have Gambu, who can be found in Solid Hideout. This guy is kind of an interesting character in that it will throw jokes here and there and will even break 4th wall by flaming you for using buff skill and will then proceed to debuff you immediately the next turn. Gambu can also turn you to stone with his attack, so prepare to block cast attacks because apparently stone status is included in cast category and not status ailment category. Gambu will also start reflecting magic halfway onward, so put magic reflect on yourself back. To break this magic reflect immediately, the turn is pulls on when it attacks you with magic, and then you can bless it with your own magic next turn. For the last holy beast, Seiryu can be found inside Red Pillar in Brutish Camp. There also is nothing to say about this boss, so on to the next one. If you have defeated Orochi and Outday Tagrin, you can find another extra boss inside White Pillar, but I don't have it with me right now, so it's time for a rematch with Orochi inside the sewer. To even put up a proper fight with this 8-time attacking snake, you need to have passive skill that blocks Magic C and Poison. Magic C prevents the snake from stealing MP from you. This snake attacks with all elemental magic and can use magic buff and universal attack, both of which uses a huge chunk of its own MP, so if you can block off its MP sucking attacks, you can actually deplete all of its MP. Then it will only start using physical attacks, so if you have stuff that reflect physical attacks back at this snake, you will have a lot of easy time beating it. Now that I have set up my score with Orochi for real this time, take the tag ring and return back to Brutish Camp. Here you get to fight with Metatron, our next extra boss. I couldn't get enough of listening to his creaking sounds coming from his mechanical parts when fighting him. Here, take a listen to it. Prepare to block Hama attack and equip your characters with HP booster and put a defense buff to tank Metatron's universal attacks. There is no other ways to get around universal attacks, so just brace for the impact every time it uses it. Now for the one last extra boss, head back to Karma Charge to fight with leader of Holy Beast, Koryu. For this boss, you really do need to pay attention to his phrases to even deal damage to it. Like other holy beasts, the magic this guy absorbs also changes with his phrases, so in worst case, it will one back to full HP just because you chose the wrong magic to attack at wrong timing. Talk about HP, Koryu has 22k health, so good luck with that. Now here's the strat. It will always display buff and debuff on battlefield at first, but when it starts using magic attacks on you, that's when you start doing all those buffing and debuffing shenanigans. Also, when Koryu is like Q kududududu, it will attack with elemental magic, and if you use the same magic that it uses in this state, it will absorb it and regain to full HP. When Koryu is like Kwa, it will use BS inflicting damage attacks and universal attacks, so brace for the impact in this state. But the good thing is, you can do 2.5 times the damage with any attacks towards Koryu in this state, so this is the only open window for you to deal a sizable damage to it, especially if buff and debuff are staying effect at this very moment. Finally, when Koryu is like Fushu, you won't be able to deal any damage to Koryu with any attacks whatsoever, so this is the only time you are going to be able to focus on healing as well as buff and debuff safely. For skill set, I have full canceller set to soft to block all incoming elemental magic attacks and then attacks with boosted magic attacks combined with mind charge. Measurizer set to 0 to full heat and cure all BS, and power charge set to heat to boost its physical attacks. I have now solidified my team composition by this point, and I feel really good after defeating Koryu because now I can rest assured that final boss is not going to pose any threat to me anymore. And so here we are at the top of the tower. According to the final cutscene, the entire junkyard is going to get erased by Sarah, and this woman is called Angel, and I have no idea who she is, and I also don't know why Rakshasa is here. Lots of stuff are still in question, but hey, this scene where Saf and he try to break free from Sarah's powers is hype, and the way everything transitions into the final boss fight is just so smooth.
命が背負う彼の最もシンプルに体現する存在だからこそ無駄は許せん貴様を信じる者がいかに無価値か教えてやろう私のまいた種がどう育ったか見せてもらおうか
上等だ
The final boss Harihara is insanely beautiful to look at. It has 3 forms, but first and second forms can be defeated easily just by mind charge magic attacks, but the third form is when the real fight starts. Harihara have these 6 balls floating around it all the time, and all of these balls reflect different kinds of attacks back at you when you attack Harihara. So the problem really is not Harihara, but these floating colorful balls. The strat is to aim the physical ball first with magic attack and blow the rest of the balls with power charge AoE attack. And when ice ball goes down, I have Saf, who I have maxed out magic stat by now, use mind charge ice attack to deal a crap ton of damage to the boss. I kept blasting at it until it summoned the ice ball again, rinse and repeat the process, all the while the boss in the middle will keep getting hit by sharp nails of your AoE attacks, and before you know it, the final boss Harihara will go down.
ダメだ間に合わねえ
And that's the end of the Digital Devil Saga 1. This game is solid in every category except the unfinished cliffhanger ending and its story. But I don't mind as long as it warps everything up in this sequel. Pretty much recommended for new gamers who wants to try out the Megaten series. Please try it out if you haven't. Nothing bad to say about this game at all, and nothing left to add on to everything I have said in the video previously. So I would like to end the video right here. If you are still here, thank you for watching till the end, and I hope this video was worth your time. And as always, I'm Nai, and I hope you see you again next time. Bye bye.
必ず